everyone, it's Meg and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some books I have read recently. Another video about all the books I've read recently flying at you. I honestly must be reading a lot faster than I have done since last year. So again, I have a variety of books to talk to you guys about today, and I have a total of 6 books as well. So I think we have a few less books than last time, or around the same amount, but I'm going to try and not babble on too much because I'm not in the mood to film today, not gonna lie, which is why you have got a no makeup Meg who has come out of the shower not long ago, and I've got my Cartier shirt on and it is beautiful and sunny outside, but I just want to sit. I thought I would just sit down and do this video whilst I have the opportunity. So we're going to talk about all the books I have read recently, and apologies if you can ever hear any strange noises because I do have my window open and it's just over there. So yes, without further ado, let's get into the video. The first book that I read recently is Voices, The Final Hours of Joan of Arc by David Elliott, and I've seen this book around a little bit. I know Jessie the reader read it at some point last year, and it is basically about Joan of Arc, and this book is told in verse, and that's the main reason why I was interested in it. I know nothing about Joan of Arc. I don't even know if we were taught about her in school, so I literally know nothing about her, but I was intrigued, especially because of the fact that it's written in verse, and I listened to it on audiobook and I did enjoy it. I was listening to it when I was still in work and I was like doing stuff, so I was kind of like clattering about, so I couldn't always fully hear what was going on, but it was a very new concept. I feel like I would have enjoyed it a bit more if I did actually kind of know the story of Joan of Arc a bit more. I find that with a lot of retellings and stuff, if I know the story or I know more about the story before going into a book or a film, then I end up enjoying it a lot more. But it was okay. I didn't expect there to be so many different perspectives, and like there was from like people to animals to inanimate objects, which was actually quite interesting. And I have a feeling, I've seen a few flip throughs of this book from people's videos, and I think that the poems are actually in different forms, like in different shapes and stuff, which personally I don't always understand, but I feel like I would have enjoyed this book more if I had read it along with listening to the audiobook. But I'm not interested in guessing it, to be honest with you. It was okay. I wasn't wild about it in any way. It was only short, so it was like a 3-hour audiobook, but it was okay. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars in the end, and it was an interesting read, but I don't think it's one that I'm going to be getting a physical copy of in the future. Next up, I have 1,000 Perfect Notes by C.G. Drews, and this was like an extra book for when I did the Animal Crossing readathon, and this follows our main character, who is Beck, and Beck's mother used to be a famous pianist, and then one day she had a stroke, which made her hand shake, and she was no longer able to play as a professional, so now she is basically forcing it on Beck to play the piano and to become a famous pianist. And I have seen this book around a little bit, and I've always been interested in it because it's about music, and my family are very musical. My parents are musicians, and I just found the concept really interesting. And I will put a trigger warning on this for domestic abuse, so please be aware of that before going into this book. But I loved the writing. That's one of my favourite things about this book. I really enjoyed the writing. It's beautiful. If you love beautiful writing, I think you will really enjoy this. And I love the characters. I love Beck. I love the storyline as well. I feel like it's a very well crafted and very well rounded story, including the characters. I think they're very well fleshed out. And you really feel for Beck because he doesn't want to play like his mum does, and he's more interested in the producing side more than the playing side, but he has to play every day. He plays from 5 o'clock until he goes to school, and then from when he goes to school, comes home from school, to when he goes to bed. So it's kind of a form of torture for him to a certain extent. One day he is teamed up with a girl named August for a school class project, and she is really interested in him. She wants to get to know him. He's not, he's just guarded and off it, but as he kind of lets her in and stuff, like he's never had a friend before, and I love seeing their friendship bloom and kind of a bit of a romance as well. And I loved August's family as well, they were really lovely. All round, this is just a really wonderful story about Beck trying to reach out and trying to figure out who he is away from the piano, away from his mother, and to be his own person. And it is an incredibly moving and heartbreaking but wonderful story at the same time. And I also really appreciate the musical aspects and like the references and stuff in here, as I believe the author does play piano as well. But I really appreciate that, and all round it's just a really nice book, very hard hitting at times, but I feel like it's altogether a very well-rounded story. I really enjoyed it, and I think it was in between a 4.75 and 5 stars, but I think I'm going to give it 4.75. It was just a really wonderful read, and I definitely recommend picking this up if you have been thinking of doing so. Next up we have The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, and I actually did a reading vlog solely for this book, so I will leave it in the description if you guys want to go and check it out. I had so much fun filming it, and I had so much fun reading this book. This is basically the story about two characters named Becca and Brett, and they end up fake dating, and it is a fake dating story because they are trying to get their friends off their backs about like being single and all that sort of thing. And that's like the very basics of the story, but I feel like you should read the story, actually read this novel to see what it's all about. And when I was reading this, I was just having so much fun. I wanted to be a bit more critical because obviously it's kind of like a review reading vlog because it's just a one book, but it was just so much fun. And it was just, I really enjoyed the characters. There's a bakery in here. Becca's mum owns a bakery, and I really love that aspect of it. I love the friendship between Brett and Becca, as obviously they're fake dating, but like their friendship that they form because of this I really enjoyed. And I felt like I could relate to Becca quite a lot in kind of her views on like romance and like relationships and that sort of thing, and in general because she's a bookish person, she loves to read and she organises her bookshelves by rainbow, which obviously I do not do, but I really enjoy rainbow bookshelves. But again, just all around, to be honest with you, it was a really fun read. The only critique I really have is that everything happened a bit too fast. Like they are together, like they start fake dating from the end of the first chapter, which I think is kind of fast, and like quite a lot of the stuff in the book happens fast. I feel like it could have been a bit longer, like maybe introduce the characters a bit more and flesh it out a bit, but overall I just really enjoyed this book. It was so much fun, and again this is either a 4.75 or a 5-star read. I can't remember what I gave it, it's one or the other, but it was so much fun, and I have had some really lovely comments from that vlog. So if you would like to go debating about whether to read this book or not, go and check out the video that I did for this. It is non-spoiler, and see what you think, and maybe you might end up picking it up. It's definitely a wonderful book to read during this time. It's just light and fluffy and just so much fun. Next up I have Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is another book that I also did a specific reading vlog for, and I don't think it's going to be up by the time this video is up. If it is up afterwards, I will leave a link in the description and you guys can go and check it out. But in case you haven't noticed on this channel, I do not read a lot of fantasy. I have read 4 fantasy books. I have read Heartless by Marissa Meyer and the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber, and that's it. I don't generally read fantasy because I just don't feel like there's much that interests me, and fantasy tends to be a bit darker. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because contemporary can be dark too, but it's just something that I just prefer contemporary personally. That's more of my jam. But this is my first high fantasy. I don't think any of those other books that I have read that are fantasy are high fantasy. But I've heard so many good things about this book, and I found it in a charity shop last year and I was curious, so I was like, I might as well do a vlog about me reading this book since I'm not into it. And it was definitely a ride. I'm not going to talk about it too much in here because obviously I did a vlog on it, but it took me at least 200 pages to get into this book because it was just so much. Like, this world is so intricate, there is so much to it, and it's that thing of trying to figure out what I thought about this book, but once I got hold of and the grasp of the world and the magic system and all that sort of thing, I ended up enjoying it more. I feel like I wasn't a massive fan of the majority of the characters, or the majority of the main characters. I feel like my favourite character is probably Tzain. I wasn't a massive fan of any of the main characters who had perspectives in this book, because there are 3 different perspectives in here, and I wasn't like a massive fan. I kind of grew to like them more throughout the novel as we got more into it, but yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of them, must admit. Don't know why, I just didn't really connect with them. I think my favourite thing about this book was probably the mythology, as it's a type of mythology that I've never read about before, and I love learning about mythology, and I haven't learned about it in forever, probably since primary school, so it's really interesting to read about it in this book, and I did enjoy it. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest with you, but I did end up enjoying it, and I was like, towards the end of the book I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get the sequel or not, but that ending, it was a cliffhanger, so maybe when the paperback comes out I might have to get it, or I can listen to an audiobook. I think it's in the library actually, so when all this is over and the library is open again, maybe I can go and read it in the library. But yeah, I'm glad I got to this book. I've just been so intrigued because so many people love it, and I gave this a 3.5 or 3.75. I feel like just because it's such a new genre for me that I didn't really feel like I was fully enjoying it to the extent where I could give it 4 stars, but I did end up enjoying it once I eventually got into the story, and yeah, I might pick up the sequel eventually. I don't know when, but I've definitely got other books that are priority, but I'm really glad I got to read this and see what all the hype is about. And like I said, go and check out the video if it is up after this video, or at some point go and check out the reading vlog that I did for this, and you can hear even more thoughts on it. Next up we have the Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and this is a rather popular adult romance that has been going around BookTube over like the past year or something, and I heard about it from Hayley in Bookland because she has been reading a lot of romance adult books and she has some great recommendations, so I'm definitely going to be diving into this genre a bit more. This book is basically about a woman named Stella who is on the autism spectrum, and she's very clever and she has a job that she loves, but she's not very good at relationships romantic wise, so she basically hires an escort to teach her how to be in a relationship and everything that comes with it. And I enjoyed this book so much. This is the first adult romance that I've read where it is quite steamy, where there is quite a few sex scenes in it, and I don't have anything to compare it to, but I feel like that's probably my level that I can go with a book, but that kind of, it mixed really well with the romance side of this, because I feel like there was a good balance of the two, and I just loved everything about this book. I loved the characters, I loved Michael the escort, he was so sweet, he undermines himself so much. I love Stella, as even though she wants to be in a relationship, she's very independent, and like she has no issue with money. She has a good job that she loves, she has a nice house, she has some, if a little bit pushy, but supportive parents at the same time, and that was just so wonderful. And I love the relationship between Stella and Michael, how understanding Michael is of Stella and how he can help calm her when she starts to feel anxious or she starts to panic, and I just love them. They are so sweet and so precious, and it was just a really enjoyable audiobook. There's just certain audiobooks where you get through them really fast because you enjoy them so much, and this was definitely the case with me. I finished it within like a couple of days or something, and it was just so enjoyable, and I love it so much, and I really love the ending and just how everything turned out, and yeah, it was just so much fun, and that is my main point of talking about this book. So if you're looking for more adult romance, definitely go and check this book out. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the audiobook as well. It wasn't anything that's super special, but I just personally enjoyed the narrator, so maybe you can check out the audiobook if you want to. But yeah, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars in the end. I just really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this author comes out with in the future. And the final book that I have to share with you guys is one that I just finished this morning, and that is The Lido by Libby Page. I read The 24-Hour Cafe by Libby back in January, and I talked about it in a recent reads video, probably my last recent reads video I think. And this is Libby's debut, and this follows the story of 86-year-old Rosemary and 26-year-old Kate. Kate is a local journalist, and Rosemary is retired and widowed a couple of years ago, and Rosemary goes to this her local Lido every day. She's been going there for the past 80 years, and the Lido has been threatened to close, so Kate basically writes an article series about the closure of this Lido, and Kate gets involved with Rosemary. She gets to know who Rosemary is, then she gets to know her friends and kind of the community that is around the Lido. And my god, this is another book. Like, I love this book so much. I didn't know what to fully expect when going into this book. I was aware of like Libby's writing. I love Libby's writing. I wouldn't say it's beautiful, but just the way she describes things and her style, it's so refreshing and new, and it's just so nice and easy to read. And I really enjoyed the story in this. There's a bit more of a plot to this book compared to the 24-Hour Cafe, and it's still, but then again, it's still fairly character driven, but you really learn to love these characters, and especially Rosemary was probably my favourite character. I found that I tend to love older characters in books. I just love hearing their stories and how much different things mean to them. And there is a real sense of community in this book, and I could really relate to that sense of community and about all these people coming together to try and save this Lido. As I work in a cafe, and it's part of a community centre, so like that sort of thing of like coming together in community is something that I can really relate to. And I can relate to Kate as well, as she is in her mid-20s and she is feeling very lonely and very isolated in London, and she's just not very happy. And this book does also deal with panic attacks, so also be aware of that when going into this book. And also, like the 24-Hour Cafe, both of Libby's books generally have two main perspectives, and then they have odd chapters where they are from different people. It's like in the cafe they were different customers and people that were out on the streets, and then in this one it had couple of chapters where they were about different people who went to the Lido, and kind of about what the Lido means to them and kind of their thoughts and what was going on at the time when that was taking place. And there's even a chapter in here, or two chapters, from the perspective of a fox, which is rather interesting. But Libby just paints a picture of Brixton, and I've never been to Brixton before, but it sounds pretty cool. And it's just such a warm, fuzzy book. It is kind of heartbreaking towards the end and rather sad, but it's just such a beautiful book. It is just so wonderful, and I love the friendship between Rosemary and Kate. It's such a beautiful friendship, and I love watching Kate grow as a character from where she starts off in the book to where she ends, just a totally different place, and you grow to love her more and just see her blossom. And I just love this book. I love everything about it. I 100% recommend it, and I just want to reread it all over again. I don't think I put my words precisely into how much I truly love this book, but it was wonderful. I loved it, and if you're going to read any of the books on this list, go and read this one because it is wonderful, and I cannot wait to see what Libby comes out with next because I adore her work so much, so she has definitely got a reader for life from me. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the books that I have read recently. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't feel like I've been in my best descriptive mood about these books today, but like, I've been pretty good in this whole like pandemic thing so far, but my mental health just went right down there yesterday, so you know, it's been fun and I've been having a great time with that, like obviously, no, but I feel a bit better now. But I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about all these books and to try and make me feel better, and as a guest especially talking about books that I really enjoyed, like this one, made me feel a bit better. So yes, I hope you guys are all doing okay and you're staying healthy and staying safe during this time, and you are all connecting and reading lots and lots of wonderful books. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and your thoughts on them. I would love to know, as always. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave links to my social media along with links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!